And we're off. Nonna, Lane, and Miss Daisy heading to Montagu. That will be our first town. And this is the mountain scenery outside Montagu with the famous tunnel. Very beautiful there. Of course, it was a bit cold, misty morning, the wind was blowing, but we walked around and stretched our legs a bit and before we entered into the town itself. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. So, yeah, a bit misty, but worth it. And then, of course, in the town, you've got to hear these birds. I'm hoping that it comes through on the video now. These are the ibis that are in the trees, nesting there. They've got like a little dam. And goodbye, Montagu. Pretty, but not really my kind of town. This notice should have been on the outside of Montagu, the road that we were about to take. We went up the Rooiberg Pass with Miss Daisy. Shame, I actually felt quite sorry for the Kombi and all the roads and the Sluiter. It was tough going to get up to the most amazing Anysberg. So yeah, we're entering the reserve and just look at it. It's just peace and quiet for days. And still felt very sorry for Miss Daisy. We had by this point driven about 34 kilometers of dirt track just to find out we still had 26 kilometers still to go to the office. And we're at the campsite. Beautiful sunset, glorious sunrise. And then we took a hike. We went to Landse Kloof, a 12.5 kilometer hike. Left Lainey under the tree near the aardvark hole and continued on up through the kloof to the waterfall. The kloof was beautiful. It was these beautiful red rocks that they like embracing you. It was so quiet back there, just you and the great unknown. A most beautiful bucket list. I cannot believe that I made it up to Anysberg. Well worth the trip. Beautiful, beautiful place. And of course, the waterfall is only running in winter when there's lots of rain. There's no water running off the waterfall. Beautiful scenery, peace and tranquility, and of course the lovely pool to cool our feet down in, and the glorious, glorious sunrise on the last day. And then we were heading off. Kombi thought she was a 4x4. And we headed up the Grand Canyon Pass. Beautiful pass on our way to Ladismith. We eventually hit tar road, but most of the trip was dirt road. And Ladismith had to go to Maudse Gat. It is a memory of Mom, and I couldn't resist going there. So we went, we sat there and had a bite to eat. We ended up sitting there for nearly 2 hours. We met the local councillor of Van Wyksdorp, Let's, which you will see later on. And she almost convinced me to like buy a piece of land in Van Wyksdorp. So kudos to her. There's Let's. And after that, we headed to Rooiberg Lodge, a beautiful, pretty campsite. We saw a lot of game, zebra, the very rare riverine rabbit we saw there, kudu, nyala, Um, Gosh, it was just a. There were lots of game at this reserve, um, and even at Anysberg, it's just so difficult in Anysberg to get them in video because they're so skitsy. So they're too far away. But yeah, these zebras had a nice run. Their hooves galloping. We thought they were going to run us over. Um, and then that was day one. Day two, oh, I'm calling this, I have to tell you about this, Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Pizza Hut. It looks like a Pizza Hut. It burnt down. It's their boma. So they had a fire recently and that boma got burnt down. But yeah, we passed that on our way. We went for a little hike, and pretty place. Lovely little canyon, beautiful views and scenery. This was where we could find signal after so many days. This bench managed to get some signal to send out messages. Our campsite, we had some very interesting people camping there near us, and the most glorious sunset over the Watergat. We would see animals in the mornings and in the evenings. And goodbye Rooiberg and on to Van Wyksdorp. Really a one-horse town, yes. This is the mall, um, and you can get everything you need here at the Van Wyksdorp Mall. But after being at the town, and this is the Dusty Dog, after being at the town, I was like, nope, not buying land there. Time to say goodbye to the beautiful Klein Karoo. Honestly, well worth a visit. I will go back anytime. Headed to Riversdale. At Riversdale, we stumbled upon the jail, the old jail. What a spectacular place this was. We wandered around there for about an hour, just in all the cells. They've got curios, they've got artwork, they've got antiques. It's just beautiful. Every corner is picture perfect. That was the jail, and we went next door to the Heel Mossie for lovely chocolate ganache cake and coffee. Our first cappuccino in days. Headed to Noukrans, that's just outside Heidelberg. It's a dairy farm. And of course, we had to be welcomed by the cattle or the milking cows. They loved Miss Daisy. They all came to say hello and greet us on their way up the hill. And then we just knew, okay, this is just the perfect ending campsite for a beautiful, beautiful trip. 7 days, 6 nights. It was just special. And it was so special to have Lainey with. Lovely, lovely trip. So the curious cattle, they were going up. They'd just been milked. They were on their way back up to the top paddock. So we just waited for them a bit. And somewhere soon we're going to see one that's like a dark chocolatey brown. The others are all light. This one was very pretty. Stands out from the crowd. Look at that one. Cute, eh? And of course, fire going for the evening. And must say that was the coldest night we had on this trip. It had been raining. We packed up in the drizzle from Rooiberg, and so we arrived here, and it was cold that night. Um, I think it was definitely the coldest we've been. But in the morning, the sun came out, and look at that beautiful sunrise. We took a walk. They have a beautiful kloof walk, so we headed off on this little adventure of ours through the farmlands, down the farm roads, and yes, look at those views, look at those mountains. And by this point, I am so well rested out. It does you the world of good not to have any cell phone signal for like 5, 6 days. managed to get at that bench, managed to get every now and again in a town or a village. But even here, there was no cell phone signal. So it was really, really nice to just unwind and get myself ready for the rest of the year that awaits at work. Um, but what a treat. Again, another dry riverbed. Um, we were starting to think, oh my word, we're not going to see water today. We're going to hike up a cliff like where there's no water for. Beautiful fields. Looks like lavender fields in France. Um, just making our way towards the cliff. Isn't that the most beautiful sight? This tree, that big tree, was just in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a field. It was absolutely beautiful. Started to get on the track, on the footpath, and this was a relatively easy walk. It was not a strenuous walk, wasn't too hot, and we just continued to make our way through pastures and making our way to that kloof that you see there, and hopefully to water. So we entered the forest, and this farm borders on Grootvader's Bos, so it is in an area where there are lush forests. Um, and there we are. We made it to the concrete wall, and this was just a very special little canyon. This beautiful. We saw lots of flowers, but these daisies were just too cute growing out of the wall. Water everywhere, so we were not disappointed by the amount of water that we saw. Just look how high these canyons walls are. Spectacular. Well worth it. And those mirror images, it's like glass. The reflections were just stunning. Our last campfire and our last sunset before we would be heading off home. And as I said, what a glorious trip. You've got to do the Klein Karoo. It is well worth all the effort that you put in for it. It's well worth it. It's a gift that will keep on giving. Thank you, Klein Karoo.